My daughter-in-law was practicing CrossFit, and she was bugging me to do it. She's 15 years younger than I am. And so to get her off my back, I thought, let me go and do it once so I can say, yeah, I did it, it was ugly, and I'm not going to do it anymore. But that's not what happened. I got in there and I liked it, and I stayed. And it brought me closer to my daughter-in-law, too. We're now really bosom buddies, if you can say that. We're having a lot of fun. We talk about CrossFit all the time. And she's a real CrossFit warrior, so she's my idol. I think it's going very well. And I've seen a lot of changes since I first walked in here. A couple of examples. When I first came here, my balance wasn't good enough to do a lunge without supporting myself on a bar or something. Now I can do lunges unassisted, lunge across the floor. I can even do lunges holding weights in my hands. Second thing, we do barbell deadlifts. That means you got a barbell with a whole bunch of weight on it, and you just bend over, pick it up to your waist. That's a deadlift. When I first started, I probably was at maybe 100 pounds. And now, the last test we had, I lifted over my body weight, which is 168 pounds, which for me was pretty good. That was a big improvement for me. Getting up off the floor was a biggie. I didn't even think about that here in the gym. Well, we do that so much that you automatically practice it 100 times every time you come to CrossFit. A little anecdote. I had a contractor in my home work on the kitchen cabinets, and she was a lady of about 45 years old, a little bit overweight, and she was down on the floor looking at the kickboards, and she wanted to show me something. She said, look at this down here. So I got down on the floor, and I was looking at the kickboard with her, and when we finished, I just popped up. And she looked at me kind of funny, and she said, you're really spry. Which I thought was funny. She had difficulty getting up off the floor. And she's 45 years old, and she works hard every day, so it's not that she's completely out of shape, but she just doesn't have the right skills. All of the things that we learn contribute to your functional fitness, and all of that works well at home. For example, something as simple as getting up off the toilet without using your hands. That's a biggie. Try it. Getting up off the floor without using your hands or without holding on to something. That's a biggie. Try it. Or picking up something from the floor by bending at the waist. Try that one too. Picking up a heavy object properly without hurting yourself by kneeling down, or rather by squatting down and picking it up, lifting it with your back. I mean with your legs, not with your back. Or in placing something on a high shelf, reaching up without getting dizzy or losing your balance. These are all things that you try to do every day, but they're improved because of your CrossFit practice. That's been my experience. Well, there's a whole bunch of things, starting with the people. Folks in my class are fun. They're my age. We groove to the same kind of music. It's a real social event. We're doing our floor exercises, and people are talking about books or movies or their dogs or their cats or whatever. So it's nice. It becomes a family, and people start to care about one another. If you miss a class, they call you to say, where are you? Are you all right? They're worried about you. That's very important. The music is important too. Some of the other classes use more contemporary music. We use the old stuff, and we like it. And we groove to it, and we have a lot of fun. But another key in Desert CrossFit is the instruction. Instruction is the most important thing about a CrossFit box. Otherwise, they're all the same. The equipment's all the same. There's no difference in those. You need to have an instructor who knows what he or she is doing so that you don't get hurt. And Cheryl has about 18 years of experience. She understands anatomy, physiology, physics, kinesiology, all that good easyology stuff that makes her a good instructor. And she understands the muscle groups and the interactions with your skeletal groups. And so she can really tailor exercises to work various muscles. That's important. She also can break down complex movements. And yes, CrossFit moves are complex and they're nuanced. And it takes a while to learn them and do them properly. Don't kid yourself, it does. And she can break them down into step 1, 2, and 3. Otherwise, you'd never be able to get them. If you tried to get them all at one bite, it can't happen. So that's why instruction is so very, very, very important, to keep you from hurting yourself. And to teach you as part of the instruction not to try to overdo, not to try and add more weight than you can handle with good form, because form is everything. Several goals that I want to accomplish. I'd like to be able to do 3 unassisted pull-ups on the bar. I'd like to be able to do 3 unassisted dips between the boxes. I'd like to be able to do 100 jump ropes without screwing up. Yeah, jump ropes, just like you kids. I'd like to be able to do a double under jump rope, which means you jump up in the air and the rope passes under your feet twice before you come back down again. I'd like to be able to do that. I'd like to be able to front squat 90 pounds, and I'd like to be able to back squat 100 pounds. Those are my goals. Let me share a personal experience with you. In 2001, I had my first heart attack. That put me into congestive heart failure, which is not a good thing. They advised me to go to the gym and do aerobic exercises to get as much activity, much strength out of my heart as I could possibly get. I did that. I went to the gym 6 days a week, and I walked the track until I couldn't walk anymore. Then in 2010, I had my second heart attack. That put me into end-stage congestive heart failure. Think about that, end stage, you know what that means. They also encouraged me to continue going to the gym, so I did. I went 7 days a week and I walked until I couldn't walk anymore, trying to keep as much strength in my heart as possible. Then in January of 2013, I went in for a routine visit with my cardiologist, and he said to me, "Bob, we can't do anything more for you medically." You don't want to hear that from your cardiologist. That's not a good thing. But in any event, that's what he said. "What do you recommend?" He said, "I think you should go and try and get an LVAD, which is the external pump that, for example, Dick Cheney had." And he said, "You're too old for a transplant." So I went to the hospital for testing, and guess what? Because of my physical conditioning, they said, "You're in perfect physical shape. Even though you're over age, if you want a transplant, we'll transplant you." Then, in March of 2013 at Cedars-Sinai, I had a transplant. So I don't think I would have gotten my transplant if I hadn't been in good physical health. That comes right back to being in the gym, working at it, and doing it. Well, you can do that. I did that for 15 years, and it's boring. And it's not a lot of fun. You get in there. Eventually, I felt like, gee, how soon can I get out of here? I was so bored. But CrossFit doesn't get boring. Everybody is in there. It's a social event. You're having fun. You're doing the things. Everybody's doing it with you. It's just kind of fun. And it makes the time go, well, it doesn't go quickly, it goes painfully, but yeah, it goes. Eventually it's 9:30 and you go home, and everybody's happy. And some days we even have donuts, so that's a good thing. But that's why you have to have physical activity. And if that's not a real-life example of how it worked for me and could work for you, then I don't know what was.
What about seniors? What is the importance for seniors in physical activity?
Go down to the supermarket and take a look around. Watch the other seniors walking in and out. See how they walk. Some of them are kind of walking briskly. Others are sort of stumbling around. Some are using canes or walkers, or they're out of breath, they're overweight, they're tired. They're in the electric cart going around the store. And think to yourself, is that what I want to be? Or do I want to be more like the people in the senior class at Desert CrossFit? Come in sometime and take a look. You'll see people at 80 and 85 and in fact 90 in here doing exercises that a lot of people at 60 can't do. And you say to yourself, you want to be in that group? You want to be in that group? Take your pick. It's up to you. You have to do what you have to do. But I would advise any senior listening to this or looking at this to come in, talk to Cheryl, give it a try, participate in one class and see if you like it.